Hey guys, Art Decline, Average Picker. So just another little micro tutorial here. And I've been meaning to do this for a minute, but there's not really a great way to show this. And explaining it can be a little difficult, but I think we can kind of muddle through it with this. So in my last video, I specifically mentioned the way I was tensioning it and why I was running the tensioner bottom of the keyway the other direction. And so for you newer pickers out there, be aware of false feedback, okay? So remember, one of my prime things is don't worry if you don't get the lock open, as long as you're learning something along the way. And if there's false feedback, that's one of the things you want to learn. So when you're picking, especially when you're picking from a ledge and at kind of an angle, as you get in the back, especially, your pick can be prone to actually rotating the core, if you can see that. And that's just because of the way you're leveraging. You're leveraging at a slight angle and you're putting some pressure up there, and it's just going to cause it to rotate. And what that's going to do is that's going to give you the false sense of maybe counter rotation occurring. You're going to think you're dealing with a spool element when you're not, things like that. So you want to watch out for that. Likewise, and this one's hard to do, this kind of occurs on a lock-to-lock basis, and I was having a little bit of issue finding one. But depending on how your bottom of the keyway tensioner is in there, right, you're going to run into a similar issue where when you're leveraging, because you're leveraging against that tensioner, especially if you have light tension applied, it's going to make this potentially move. Okay, it's going to start to kind of push. If you're catching inside down here, sort of more on it, you're going to cause it to lift. And if you're catching more on the outside edge here, and especially if it's kind of cocked at an angle, like maybe you don't have a tensioner that fits in there real well, it's going to cause it to slightly drift down. And it will actually fight the warding. You can a lot of times end up with a tensioner crammed in at an angle where you didn't think it would have been before. And that's just from you leveraging against it. And again, though, that's going to provide you with a false sense of feedback for what you're doing with the pins. So sometimes it can be really hard to tell. Are you just getting a lot of spool feedback, or are you getting some kind of false feedback? Just let it do its thing. I mean, you don't want to be putting so much pressure on your pick that you're risking bending it anyway. But just lighten up on your tension, give it some nudges, go ahead and let it go tilt all the way back. If you end up getting it up in there somewhere, you should be hearing clicks as pins that you've already picked have set. And you know that it's not going to just keep rotating past that point. So especially if you're starting to approach that, and you're going clockwise with it, something's off. So, you're starting over now, but you've just learned something. And so when you start to get that feedback again, no, that could be fake counter rotation. The other thing to do is just keep your pick steady there, rotate the core back to its, full and upright position, and press up a little bit and see if you're getting that pin to move up. Because if it's not moving up, then you could be banging into the warding and doing that same kind of thing where you're causing it to counter rotate just off the warding and not because of the pins. So yeah, just a little quick micro thing there to tuck in the back of your head for you newer people. So anyway, happy picking, guys, and talk to you later.